Hello and welcome to my channel and another Night Angels Global YouTube Hop. This month our theme is holiday, so today I have for you this layered Christmas card made with the Christmas Classics bundle from Stampin' Up. Let's get started. All of the measurements for my project are noted in the description box below, so please check that out, and the links to hop along today are there for you as well. To start, I die cut the square floral frame from the die set in basic white cardstock and then added color to the leaves with my light and dark old olive blends. Using both shades adds some depth to the die cut without needing a second set of blends, so you can get more distance with just one set of markers. So to add that shading quickly, I just started by drawing lines around the square frame, and then I'm going back with my light blends marker and just blending out the difference between those two colors so that you end up with a whole ombre look of shades instead of a stark line between each color. I also stamped the leaf image from the coordinating Christmas Classics stamp set in black memento ink several times, and I'm coloring them with the same old olive blends. I added shading to the bottom of each of the images for some visual texture, and then you can follow along on the details of the stamp as well to add some dark layering on the veins of the leaves as well. I stamped and colored 4 copies of that leaf, but you can use as many or as few as you like, depending on how you want to build up the design. Next, I die cut all of those stamped and colored images with the coordinating dies, along with a floral label die that also comes in the set. Makes a perfect spot for a sentiment and adds some great detail to the sentiment label as well. To that die cut, I did splatter some old olive ink using the flicking technique and my blends marker. That was just to help it not be quite so stark and bright white on the finished product. And then I just needed to pop out those die cut pieces that are the scraps. Up next, I stamped my sentiment in white embossing powder on real red cardstock and die cut it with the die that coordinates with the label. And now I'm adding some of my die cut leaves to the back of that sentiment strip, just at each of the edges. And then I'm going to add it to my fancy label with some dimensionals. So I added several dimensionals across the back just to give it some stability and some strength. And now I'm going to use my grid paper to line it up with my die cut label just to make sure I keep straight. Next, I'm going to add some more of my leaves behind the white label, and that adds a lot of depth and dimension to the sentiment focal point of my card. So now it's really comes down to assembling the card. My card base is made from Pebbled Path cardstock, and to that I added a layer of Joy of Christmas DSP that's a beautiful wood grain pattern, and some sparkly organza ribbon that I had in my stash. You could substitute any current ribbon or anything that's got a little sparkle that you have as well. I also have a square of the same DSP and a slightly larger real red square that I layered together, and those I added to the center of my colored floral frame. And then I added that whole piece to my card base with Tombow glue. So all of my layers up to this point are just flat, but they're building up the dimension and the depth just by layering the different pieces of cardstock. Next, I added my prepared sentiment label with some Tombow just on top and to the right of my card base so that I didn't completely hide the frame I'd already placed down on the card base. And I added a sparkly bow as well, just with a glue dot. I then realized that I wanted to add some more pops of white to my card, so I carefully added some splatters of white ink in various spots across the base. I would definitely recommend doing this before adding all your layers, so you don't have to worry about getting white ink in places you don't want it, but I didn't realize I was going to need it until now. For the inside of my card, I stamped and colored a few more of the leaf holly pieces, and now I'm just adding that to my card base with Tombow glue and squaring it up. So this is my finished project. Loads of layers and texture and techniques, really fun to make. Thank you so much for watching my video. I would love to hear from you in the comments. Please also remember to check out the description box to find the measurements and the links for the other tutorials that the Night Angels have for you today. Happy crafting!